Mandy Rose has been released by WWE. What's going on, guys? Welcome to a mid-Wednesday afternoon live edition of Mic Drops. This is rare. Thought it would be a good opportunity for me to come up here since it is still a little bit early on in the day here and give you some thoughts on Mandy Rose, since unfortunately I will be missing Winter is Coming. We are usually up here on Wednesdays live to watch Dynamite together, but I am right in the middle of Christmas season at work and we've got a ton of Christmas parties and I'm very busy and I am needed. So unfortunately I have surrendered myself to my career to allow them to use me any way they fit or see fit here in December, and it has put me there a lot of Wednesdays this month. But we will start lightening up the closer we get to Christmas, and I'll have a big month of January planned for us here on the channel. But since I'm not going to be up here tonight and I might not be back here with a video until the podcast this weekend, we got to talk about Mandy Rose, and we got to talk about it now. She was let go today by WWE less than 24 hours after dropping the NXT title last night to Roxanne Perez in a very rushed decision, and one that had a lot of head scratching because she held the NXT championship for 400 plus days, nearly a year and a half. She was a fantastic champion. She really built herself up and gave herself a career-defining run in my mind, and one that she can be really proud of, and one that I thought would launch her to big-time stardom on the main roster. When I saw her lose the title last night, I thought that Triple H just wanted to get her and Toxic Attraction to the main roster ASAP. But she was scheduled to defend her title against Roxanne Perez, who won that Iron Survivor thing at Deadline, I believe at New Year's Evil. That's when the match was supposed to take place, but word got out yesterday. As a matter of fact, Fightful Select ran a story that they had got word that there was a potential spoiler for NXT and that there was discussion of having Mandy Rose drop the title. So that news was out early, and then we saw that happen on NXT. She did drop the title, and even I didn't even think anything of it. I congratulated Mandy on a hell of a run on Twitter and really just thought all that meant was that she was going to be springboarded up to the main roster. She's been teasing the Nikki Bella stuff. I thought maybe they could do something at WrestleMania between those two. I don't know, or at least have them come or cross paths in the Royal Rumble. And now here we sit, Mandy Rose released. Why is she released, do you ask? Well, apparently she's been busy doing kind of an OnlyFans type of content, although I don't think it's OnlyFans. I was not aware of this. I think I knew that she had some sort of fan page, but I didn't know the content was as racy as it apparently is. And that, from what we understand, tends to be, or looks to be, the reason for her release. It wasn't anything specific she did, you know, in the locker room or professionally. It was this, which many people have been repeating the sentence, it is outside of the parameters of her WWE contract, is what has been repeated many, many times today. So maybe some of you can fill me in on what her content is. I'm unaware of it. Obviously, it's a subscription service. Obviously, she's making a shit ton of money on it. Among the many things I read today, the only story I'm going to read to you verbatim is the Fightful Select article, but of the many things I was coming across today while reading all of the nonsense about this, was that apparently she was kind of aware that this could get her in trouble. There were even some people that were posting some of the content, and she asked them to remove it because of how it could affect her WWE status. But Mandy Rose is an adult, and Mandy Rose is a smart person, and she must have been making a shitload of money off of this. If it's worth the risk of compromising your WWE contract, I would assume she's probably making as much, if not more, doing this fan content that she is in WWE. So if you're in her shoes, in her position, like, well, yeah, I might be taking a chance losing my WWE contract, but if I do, right now I'm doubling my income. Worst case scenario, I just go back to my single income. If WWE forces me to shut this down, then I do that, and I still have my WWE income. If WWE fires me, then I still have the OnlyFans income or the fan content or whatever the fuck she's doing. I still have that income. Either way, I know that a lot of what we're going to talk about here is going to be pointing out the long, long storied history of WWE's jaw-dropping hypocrisy, how some people get fired for reasons that don't seem necessary and others are given chance after chance after chance after chance. All of that aside, this obviously probably has to come down to something within WWE in her contract, sponsors perhaps, or something that is out of their hands, because I don't think, even as ridiculous as WWE can be sometimes, Vince is gone, and when Vince was there, it seemed, like The Fiend, Bray Wyatt is a perfect example. When Vince was still around, it seemed like you could see releases happen right after the company has spent a lot of time and a lot of money on investing in this character, on improving this character and marketing this character and all the time and energy and especially money that they spend on that just to turn around and release him. And we saw that with The Fiend, and we've seen it some other people in the Vince era. You would hope that that type of knee-jerk reactions and releases aren't going to be so prominent now. So if you see somebody like Mandy Rose, who WWE, I think she's had the best year of her career in developmental. She's already been on the main roster and done some pretty cool shit with Sonya Deville, had a SummerSlam match and everything, but none of that, I believe, compares to how good she's been as the leader of Toxic Attraction and as the heel champion of that brand for the past year and 3 months or whatever it's been. And I just don't think, even as crazy as WWE is and even as illogical as they can be sometimes, to release somebody that you've spent that much time and money on within this past year for no reason really seems crazy. So even though a lot of fans, I think 99.9% of the fans, do not agree with this release and think that WWE should stop being a bunch of fucking nerds. And I feel that way too. But there has to be a reason on their end that they are doing this. Now, Fightful Select posted a story earlier on today elaborating a little bit on this, and I want to read it to you because there are some interesting news tidbits in there, I should say. And I quote, Fightful has learned that WWE felt they were put in a position where they needed to release her due to what they considered the explicit nature of her content on her fan time page. So maybe that's what it's called, fan time. They considered this to be outside the parameters of her WWE contract. In following up, WWE sources indicated to Fightful that they felt like the content was not appropriate for one or more of their partner relationships and that she didn't seem interested in ceasing posting. So that implies that she kind of already knew about this. Brian Alvarez reported today, or said today, I think on his podcast, that she was caught off guard by the release. It doesn't sound like this should have caught her off guard. This sounds like something she's been well aware of. And I know one of WWE's partners is Mattel, which is a kid's toy, and probably they have some other partners like that too, and they could be the ones to put pressure on WWE, and that's something that you have to understand. Advertisers are very, very important to businesses, and even though Mandy Rose is a very valuable asset as a talent on NXT, if you've got advertisers threatening to pull the plug and you losing all this money and you're a business, this is the decision that most companies are probably going to make. So it's like, I almost understand why WWE made the decision. I just hate that the decision had to be made. And Mandy Rose, whose character, I mean, Mandy Rose is already a pretty sexual character before, but when she went back to NXT and formed Toxic Attraction, it seemed like her marching orders were go out there and be as aggressively sexual as possible, because that's what Toxic Attraction seems like they're all about. Very, very sexual, very racy type of stuff. Granted, not nudity, but still extremely over-the-top, horny, and sexual. So it seems like all she was doing that. When you look at the characters of Toxic Attraction, those are the exact type of, I suppose, women that you would expect to have these type of accounts. I think she's doing exactly what the leader of a Toxic Attraction faction would do. So I think it's funny that they're basically just releasing her for maintaining her character. Just maintaining her character is making her a ton of money on the side. Now, she has never promoted this, from what I know, or from what I understand, on her own social media. I don't even think she goes by the name Mandy Rose on that, but I could be wrong. And if any of you guys are subscribers to this content, please let us know what it includes and, how it is. But it doesn't sound like she's using WWE to make more money off this. I think that was part of the issue with the Twitch stuff. WWE didn't want the wrestlers using their own names. Same thing with the cameos. They don't want them saying their names or using their real names because they can't profit off their WWE persona without WWE getting a cut and all that shit. But then with Triple H's takeover, and then we've been hearing some of the Twitch things have been reasoned out and hammered out, and now they're allowed to use third-party sites to make money and whatnot. I think that all talent should be allowed to do that. Tony Khan's been very cool about letting his talent do whatever they want on the side. Any side hustle they want to have, they could do that because he's not a penny pinching piece of shit. But in WWE, I feel like they should have that same policy, but maybe this is something like, we read here in this first paragraph that is just outside of the parameters. So I just want to say that first as we resume the story here. Goes on to say, Fightful gained word last night, shortly before the NXT show, that Mandy would be dropping the title to Roxanne Perez in what was called an abrupt decision. Needless to say, she won't be at tonight's NXT tapings. It's worth noting it's worth noting we don't have information now as to whether or not Mandy had requested the release, if it were on WWE's side completely or a mutual agreement. We've learned that in recent months, Mandy had indicated to others that she realized the content and the nature of her page could get her in trouble with management. A note was passed to Fightful this week that one former WWE talent beat her best financial WWE year in 2022 with her own exclusive content page. So that's pretty telling. That just goes to show how much money these women can make doing this. Mandy sent a message to her subscribers today saying, quote, "Hey guys, thank you for all of the messages. I am overwhelmed with all of the love and support from you guys. And don't worry, the page is still up. We are working to get more details as we can get them." So Fightful's on the case. A lot of people are looking into this to find out exactly what it was. Mandy has now acknowledged the release, even though I don't think WWE has, well, they might have by now. A couple of hours ago, WWE had not said anything officially yet, but Mandy's acknowledging it. And with these reports saying that Mandy kind of knew that this could cause her some problems, props to her, because that was a risk that she was willing to take. And that's something that I can respect, because she's probably looking at the numbers here. Why am I just going to forfeit this money? It's worth the risk. Even if I can do this for 3 months, 6 months, I can make $1 million. Why wouldn't you do that? WWE, the fact that they sell out, to Saudi Arabia, and they have all this blood money coming in, and they do so much disgusting shit to bring in revenue to that company. And the fact that a talent, something like this is considered out of bounds. Why don't you ask Mattel to look up Jamal Khashoggi, that journalist that was slaughtered, by the fucking Saudi Arabian prince or whatever. There's lots of disgusting shit. You've got a couple of murderers in your Hall of Fame. The 9 Lives of Vince McMahon documentary just aired last night on Vice, chronicling all of the disgusting, gross shit that freak has done. And all of that is considered fine. I mean, you just had the owner of the company had to step down because he fucked so many goddamn women and paid so much money to them that, he got burned badly by his actions. He was, just a horny, entitled, rich, ridiculous person. And, granted, he had to step down from this and he left WWE, but that mark is still on WWE. I might have a cat on the counter. 1 second. We're good. Sorry for the delay. I thought I heard some noises and I thought Tito was getting into mischief. Anyway, as I was saying, when you think about all of the messed up stuff that Vince McMahon has on his reputation, that WWE has, basically that 9 Lives of Vince doc last night did nothing but chronicle each and every scandal he had, from the Rita Chatterton to the steroid scandal, to the Ring Boy scandal, to the Montreal screw job, to the steroid trial, to the Owen death, to the Benoit death, and then finally, with all of the disgusting information that was revealed in the Wall Street Journal reports and things like that about his behavior, how all of that has happened in WWE, and somehow this is a place where they draw the line. So I think it sucks. I think it sucks for Mandy Rose. I'm not going to sit here and pontificate about, professional contracts and things like that and what WWE can do and what they can't do, what Mandy Rose can legally or legally not do to WWE or do while she was there or do while she was under contract, or if she can sue them or if she cannot sue them. I don't think anybody like myself or anybody else out there that works at fucking Ross Dress for Less should try to educate anybody else on wrestling contracts or how they work or how they're structured. There is a reason WWE released her, even though I think WWE is a bunch of fucking nerds, and it drives me crazy when they release good people for reasons that many fans don't feel were, necessary. Then sure, that upsets me. But I also just understand in a company like WWE, you have rules that you expect your talent to adhere by, and I think it's fucked up and hypocritical that you classify these people as independent contractors and don't allow them to make money any other way. If Mandy Rose is an independent contractor, in theory, she should be allowed to do whatever the fuck she wants in the time that she's not with WWE. But for some reason, I don't know how WWE's been able to get away with this for so long. They can still classify their workers as independent contractors while restricting the rest of their lives. And to me, that is always going to be fucked up. Always. So I'm not condoning what WWE did here. I'm just saying they must have had their own reasons for this. There must be something here. And like the Fightful article pointed out, perhaps they asked Mandy to stop and she said, "No, I can't stop. I'm making so much money. I made 120 grand last month, more than what you guys are paying me. Why would I stop?" So, it might have come down to her own decision. This might have been, I don't think it's something that WWE management or, maybe Jesus told Shawn Michaels to fire or something. I don't think Shawn was, on ChristianMingle.com and all of a sudden Mandy Rose's content popped up and he was offended and they fired her the next day. That's probably not what happened. I think NXT and WWE knew about this and maybe they approached her about it and said, look, we kind of need you to stop doing this if you want to keep working here. And she's like, well, I'm not gonna. I can't, and so maybe that's her own decision in her head. And that's what I would do. I would just look at the numbers. How much is WWE paying me? How much is my boobies paying me? And I'm going to look at those two numbers and I'm going to pick whatever one is higher. And so if WWE says cut the shit or we're going to release you, I'm like, well, look at how much money my boobies made me last year. I have to go in the ring and take bumps for you and show up and travel and go through hair and makeup every day for 5 fucking hours to make less money than what I make sitting on my bed. So yeah, I get it. If that was her decision, I do not blame Mandy Rose whatsoever. I have no problem or no moral issue whatsoever with, with sex work or any woman that wants to make money, off of creepy, gross, pathetic losers that will throw money at them. Sure, do it. I see that. Part of the reason why I never explored Twitch is because when I went on there, it was like, all it is just girls with dudes throwing money at them. And I was like, and I'm not that pretty. So I like it that people can find ways to make money doing that. And Mandy has a huge fan following. She's gorgeous, of course, and wrestling fans are horny and desperate most of the time. So, of course, they're going to flock to this type of page or content or whatever. And I think that's awesome. I'm glad she makes money doing it. I'm glad fans enjoy the content that she puts out there. Tito, you have got to go. You're driving me crazy. I'm glad that the fans have content that they can enjoy from her, and I really have no issue with this at all, but WWE does. And so whatever those reasons are, like I said, sponsorships or whatever, it must be pretty bad because she's already, like I said, she's already in a stable and a faction, and she has a gimmick that's so aggressively hardcore sexual. It's funny that, that she's released for virtually staying in character. This is a kayfabe, situation we're in here. It seems like she's just being the Mandy Rose we see on TV, but you guys are gonna have to tell me what she goes by on the, what is it called? It's in here. I forgot what it's called. Fan time. So there's a fan time. Is that like only fan time? It's fan time. Oh, so funny. So crazy. So, at the end of the day, I'm not too upset because I know Mandy Rose is going to be okay. If don't have too much sympathy for Mandy, okay? Because it's not like she's going to be living out on the streets eating a half-eaten Happy Meal out of the trash, okay? She's doing fine. She's going to make just as much money doing what she's doing, if not more. She's in no financial trouble. Her livelihood is not threatened in any way. And I'm sure that she can maybe be brought back. Maybe this is a temporary solution to fix things, and then maybe she can either brought back or maybe she can dance right on over to Tony Khan. Because do you think Tony Khan gives 2 fucks that she's got this My Time page or Fan Time page? No, he's probably embraces it. He'll probably promote the damn shit on Dynamite. Dude doesn't care. So she's going to be fine. It would be very cool if they could work things out with her, because I think in the NXT and WWE environment, Mandy thrives. I think that's a really good setting for her, and I'm not even totally convinced that AEW would be a better place. She's already been treated pretty well in WWE. She's been pushed and profiled and highlighted a lot, and I think if she wants to stay in wrestling, she should probably figure out a way to stay there. But if she can't, and they just can't bring her back, and they can't work out any compromise, Tony Khan's got $1 billion too. I can just go right over there and get my same WWE contract from him, maybe even get him to pay me a little bit more. I also get to keep my fan time page, make that money, and now she's pulling in $2-3 million a year. She's making Bret Hart money. Not bad. So, I'm not going to sit here and shed any tears for her. I'm sure this sucks. And if it did catch her off guard, and she is leaving WWE, a place that she's worked at for a long time, has friends there. And I'm sure all of that situation is very sad, but it would be a lot sadder if Mandy Rose was homeless or living in a van, which she will not be. She will be doing just fine with her financial situation and her life, and I take comfort in knowing that. In the meantime, I just wish her all the best, and I wish the best to the 2 remaining members of Toxic Attraction, because when you let go the head of a faction, in the trickle-down effect, that's going to affect 2 women who've been working hard to get over as well, with Gigi and JC or Lacey or whatever her name is. So I feel bad for them. I would call them up, if you ask me. I mean, now that Mandy is gone, I'd get the other two up on the main roster and put them in the tag team division. I think that's really the only thing to do at this point, now that they've kind of, the head has been chopped off the snake, so to speak, unless they bring somebody in. I mean, what if they were to bring in, it's so far in advance, but Mandy Rose just got released today, but if they were able to work something out for her to bring her back in a couple of months, or an agreement was made or whatever. In the meantime, what if you brought in Nikki Bella to be the new leader of Toxic Attraction for a couple of months? Maybe Gigi and, is it Lacey or JC? Is it JC Jane or what is her name? The other one? So maybe they're in the ring being like, we lost our leader, but we found a better one, and bring out Nikki Bella, and they join up with Nikki Bella, and they run as the new Toxic Attraction for a while. And then in 2 months, Mandy Rose comes back and attacks Nikki. I don't know. That's probably not going to happen, but it would be fun to see as a fan. But best of luck to the other two remaining members of that faction, because that was a super over and noticeable faction in NXT. I didn't even watch NXT, but I was very much aware of Toxic Attraction and what they were doing, and all the toxicness that they were doing. They were three beautiful women, and they were kicking ass down there in horny, splashy paint. And I thought it was good stuff. So it's a sad, weird day. What a weird day. What a weird year for this company. One of the craziest years in company's history. Story of the decade, story of the century. So far is Vince McMahon stepping down just several months ago, and one crazy story after another in wrestling tends to be happening, or seems to be happening, all year. Crazy. Well, I have not said a single word to anybody in the chat yet, so why don't we go do that? If those of you who are here have not hit the thumbs up button yet, please do that. If you are not a subscriber, please do that as well. We are here all the time doing stuff, watch-alongs, podcasts, mic drops like this, reviews, all sorts of stuff. Anyway, let me just see who's in the house. There might be some super chats. Probably not going to be able to shout out everybody here. Definitely want to welcome, though, the channel members. I see Zach. I see Danny Allmark in the house. We've got Chris Ludek. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that $5 from you earlier. I knew a hot girl in Texas, not as well known as Mandy, and she was making $50 to $100K a month. OnlyFans. So Mandy probably made more. Yep, she's probably making a shit ton more. Which is why I wouldn't blame her at all. WWE says, Mandy, you've got to shut that down. And she goes, yeah, no, I don't. So I don't blame her one single bit. And I'm happy that some women can have this avenue for revenue. Good for them. I can't lay on my bed and spread cooking oil all over myself and wear a cowboy hat and pull in $150K a month. I can't do it. I could try, but I don't think it would work. Ronnie, good to see you, man. Very good to see you. NG Dre, good to see you as well. They were nude, some softcore-ish videos. It's a complicated... So I don't think she was doing porn. It was maybe softcore-ish stuff, maybe just some love or making out scenes. Who's her boyfriend again? Or her husband? Or her fiance? I don't know. It's somebody. He's in wrestling, right? I forget his name. Forget who he is. Is it Tino Sabatini or whatever? Is that him? That might be him. Juliet, good to see you. Another family member. We got Victor Colon in the house. Welcome. Thank you for being here for 4 months, my friend. Mandy talked about the firing. She wasn't expecting to get fired. He was expecting management to be pissed, but not expecting to be fired. It caught her by surprise. Maybe the firing itself caught her by surprise, but it does sound like she was aware that this could potentially cause a problem for her. So she shouldn't be that surprised about the release. Matt Riddle is also in trouble as well. Somebody deleted Kenny Williams' chat or a comment, but they shouldn't have, because he's not wrong about that. One of the things I should have brought up was Paige, and that's a really, really good, I guess, example of the hypocrisy. Now, in Paige's case, she didn't do it on purpose. It was leaked. Her private photos and videos were hacked and sent out into the world. That's fine. But, Paige was also doing a lot of other stuff, embarrassing herself in public, and a lot of those videos didn't help either. She had been suspended a couple of times for drug issues, and she was going crazy, and she was in a bad place, and a lot of that was her own doing. The videos themselves wasn't really her fault, even though she was jizzing on championship belts and fucking her coworkers and stuff like that. It's private. You can do whatever you want in private. As long as it's not illegal, do whatever you want. It's nobody else's fucking business. So I understand that, but I think Paige did lots of things that were very fireable, lots of things that would have been a turnoff to their partners like Mattel, but because of that movie, it saved Paige. And They kept her on when anybody else probably in that position who wasn't on TV or certainly wasn't having a movie made about them with The Rock producing it, they would have been released. So Paige is a good example, of somebody that should have been fired and wasn't. But you know what? Paige is just one of the many examples of that. Think of the wellness policy violations. Think of the drug issues. Think of the Usos and Jeff Hardy and Randy Orton and so many guys that have basically gone out and misbehaved or done something they really should not have done, only to, just continue like nothing happened. So there is, I think WWE is everybody, and Tony Khan probably does the same thing, judge each situation individually, case-by-case basis type of thing. But when you do that, it does open yourself up to look hypocritical a lot when you're letting other people get away with things and then you're flat out releasing somebody without any ultimatums or anything like that. Now, granted, we don't know if that's really the case. If as more information comes out, maybe it is determined that they at least told her, hey, we can't have this, you have to stop. And she said, fuck you. Or they said, look, what we have discovered and what we have to release you right now. Maybe they even told her, hey, stay close. Let's see if this blows over. We can bring you back. I mean, our owner believes that he's going to make a WWE comeback because things might blow over. So if Vince thinks his shit can blow over, I'm pretty sure Mandy's shit can easily blow over. And it'll probably smell pretty good too. So it's a crazy situation. I don't know what to make of it. I don't know what to make. No, Sean is not divorced. I was just kidding about the Christian mingle thing. Oh, relax. You guys take things so literally. Wow, gosh. Oh, sorry. Oh, we had a good reason for deleting... Okay, well, Mr. Kenny, if you're just going to come in here and be a fucking prick, we don't want that either. Look at your channel. There's nothing going on. You joined 9 months ago. You don't have a single subscriber. You just use this to troll. So, go fuck off. Go fuck off. Go in somebody else's chat and do that, dickweed. Oh, Sonya was with Toxic Attraction 1 week when Mandy was out. I do kind of sort of remember that. JC Jane, there you go. I couldn't remember her name. Yeah, I said the same thing. Just bring Gigi and JC up to the main roster. Might as well do that. Oh yeah, Nikki. Well, Nikki, whatever that bullshit is on right now, that Barmageddon, I'm certain that's all in the can. That has to be all filmed by now. I don't think they would be airing that shit. That's not a live show, is it? I was under the assumption that TV show that I've been seeing her on, which I will not watch, but I've seen clips of it. It looks like they've just taped the whole series of that. So I don't think she's working on that now. She's probably free to do whatever. But I also don't think, even if she was free and clear, that Nikki Bella would be coming to NXT to lead Toxic Attraction. It was just me kind of thinking out loud. Yeah, Tiffany Stratton, the new head of Toxic Attraction. And what is the girl's name? I forgot her name already. Kind of a cool name. Tall girl, kind of surfer girl. She there was a clip of her floating around social media of her doing like a shooting star RKO or something in the corner that looked really good. And what I noticed about this big tall blonde is that she had presence and size to her. Almost a little bit like a Jade Cargill type, but way more athletic. But she had height, she had build, and she had presence. And I've always thought for years that the women's division really needs like that Edge or Randy Orton force on their roster. Just that tall, athletic star. That might not be the biggest star, but is one of the biggest stars in the company and can develop, a Randy Orton or Edge-ish type of legacy in the women's division without being the John Cena. Charlotte, I thought could kind of fit that bill too, but Charlotte's, now has so much hate from the fans, and plus she's pretty much WWE's crown jewel. I would love to see somebody be the Orton to Charlotte Cena. You know what I mean? I'd love to see like a number two. Granted that Becky and Sasha and Bayley and all the women have done it, but I want somebody with like Jade Cargill's size, but with the athleticism to match. And Jade is getting great. Don't get me wrong. She's getting a lot better. But, when I see the athletic moves by this girl, she's a gymnast. And she probably can do flips and stuff like that. She's very fit, very built, very strong, very athletic. And, if she can translate well into wrestling, and it looks like so far she has, that would be awesome. I would love just to see someone on the roster, in the WWE roster anyway, that kind of has that presence and size to them. Even more so than Raquel. I like Raquel Rodriguez, big mammy cool or whatever. I thought she could be more of a, a Kevin Nash or a Test on the women's division, but we need that Randy Orton or Edge. And maybe that girl can be the one because she was pretty impressive. The little bit I saw of her anyway. Oh, yeah, I'm not talking about Nikita Lyons. Her I don't really like. Oh, yeah, there you go. Sol Ruca. Sol Ruca. Is that her? Sol Ruca? Sol Ruca. Yeah, her name is Sol. Ruca KO or whatever she did. Yeah. So that's the one I like. Granted, I've only seen her wrestle for 90 seconds, but I did like what I saw, and keep our eye on her. Tiffany Stratton, I know, has been, making a lot of waves as well. And so NXT is going to continue to be fine and move on and everything. That's not really being debated here. It's just the situation with Mandy being let go really sucks. But anyway, that's my opinions on that. I'll be getting out of here soon. Just wanted to come up here with a quick video. I did catch Vince McMahon's 9 Lives documentary last night. It basically was formatted and set up exactly like a Dark Side of the Ring, and they really chronicled a lot of his life, talked early about his childhood, and then moved into how he bought the company from his dad and WrestleMania. And then after they talked about how he got there and made it to that point, then it was scandal after scandal. Started with Jimmy Snuka, and then moved into the steroid trial, and then it was probably after that, the Montreal Screwjob. Then it was Owen. Then it was Benoit. Then it was all these women. It was Rita Chatterton. So much stuff. The John Stossel shit. That's right. They put the John Stossel nonsense in there as well. And just talked about all of these controversies, all of these scandals that Vince McMahon has survived throughout the years. And even when this one happened earlier on in the year, I think I said the day that all this broke by the Wall Street Journal, I said, I don't think this is one bullet he can't dodge. This just seems way too important, way too serious now, and things are so much different now than they were in the 90s and shit, and this stuff just doesn't evaporate away anymore, and he's not going to be able to get out from underneath this rock that he has placed on himself. And he was, and he retired. Interesting timing yesterday. There was a report that said that Vince McMahon has been telling people that he plans to make a WWE comeback, that he was given wrong advice by the wrong people, or he took advice from the wrong people, and he intends to make a comeback. Really interesting timing that happened to break hours before the Vice documentary, which might have just been a political play to get people to tune into that. But Vince McMahon, it wasn't in cooperation with him. He refused to participate in the project, so I don't know why he would want people to tune into that to watch 2 hours of people talk about how fucking dirty he is. So, I don't know what the point was to have that kind of come out on the same day, but I don't believe Vince McMahon will be back. The reaction internally apparently was extremely negative to that idea. Some people saying they'll just flat out walk out if he comes back. I don't believe Vince is coming back. This might just be a way to set up and perhaps soften a blow of having Vince McMahon appear in some form at the Raw 30th anniversary in January, which he could very well do. I thought maybe he wouldn't appear in person. He might just get that Vince voice, welcome to Monday Night Raw, or something like that. Also been talking about the Hall of Fame. I would not do the Hall of Fame at WrestleMania 39 for Vince McMahon. Absolutely not. If he has to go into the Hall of Fame, I would do it at 40 in Philly next year. That's closer to home. It's more of a Vince neighborhood. I don't think Vince would be, received very well here by an LA crowd as much as a Philly crowd. That's just a guess. And plus, it's WrestleMania 40. Nice round number. You're just a 2-hour drive or whatever it is from your home base. You're not far from New York. You're in your comfort zone. Trying to go in the Hall of Fame all the way out here in LA seems weird. I would do that close to home next year at WrestleMania 40, but maybe they're trying to prepare the fans for that or something, or to gauge, the response to if Vince is going to make a comeback, what the public thinks of this. I don't know. But I don't think he should be anywhere near WWE. Things have been infinitely better since he left. There's always going to be the WWE problems, and WWE is still going to do their WWE shit. But with Triple H in charge, I feel a lot more comfortable about not hearing stories about Triple H ripping up a script in a fit of rage 2 hours before the show starts and having to rewrite everything and firing people on the spot, changing your mind on the spot. Sounds like Triple H is much more focused, much more organized, and knows what he wants to do and where he wants to go. So Vince McMahon coming back in right after the company has proven that it can survive without Vince McMahon. The stock has been performing very well. So all of this Vince thinks he's going to come back in there and throw his disgusting monkey wrench cock back into this machine that's finally starting to run well again and mess it all up. What is wrong with this man? He's got to be full of shit, and there's no way this buffoon is going to come back and run WWE. If he wants to show his gross, wrinkled, weird face on TV, that's fine. If they must parade him out there at WrestleMania or at Raw 30, fine. You can debate that at the end of the day. I don't really care about that so much. Yeah, it might be shitty and lots of people are going to have an opinion about that, but all I really care about is this man having a direct effect on the creative direction of the company. And if he assumes or resumes any backstage role, that's my number one, to quote Steve Austin. That's the one thing I say, hell no, you cannot do that. Do not come back. Stay the fuck away. But if he was to appear on TV, then it's like, yeah, that sucks. But hey, at least he's not backstage. So when inevitably WWE brings him on TV and the internet explodes and freaks out, I don't think I'm going to participate in that, because my only concern is that he stays away from the internal stuff, because that's what he was fucking up so badly. Don't give him any control, and certainly don't let him come in and undo for a second time all of the work that Triple H has done. That seems like it would be company suicide. There's no way the shareholders would be okay with that. They, I'm sure, would be informed first of this possibility before, we were. So none of that really seems plausible at all to me. Even when I heard it yesterday, I'm like, no. Vince, I just cannot see him coming back or wanting to come back, because none of this is blowing over. If anything, it's still very much, known about, and we're getting some new scandals, some new women that we didn't even know about prior to yesterday. So I don't know why Vince thinks this is even a possibility. It's probably just because he's senile and crazy. So that's all I think there. Let me cruise over here to the chat and just make sure I didn't miss, like a super chat or something, because I fucking hate it when I do. But nope, I think we're all good. I want to thank everybody that was hanging out with us this afternoon. Thanks for being here. Pretty decent audience today. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe to this channel. We're up here all the time doing stuff, and I will be back up here this week to discuss more news if we get it, as it pertains to Mandy Rose, if we learn anything. The next video I have planned for the channel is going to be Saturday for the Winged Eagle podcast. We will be up here Sunday for a watch along as well. However, I got to decide which one that's going to be. I'll probably throw a couple of YouTube shorts and maybe a mic drop on the channel as well prior to then, but make sure you stay tuned to the channel and hang out here for all of your latest news, and the next time I'm going to be up. You guys, oh yeah, the spa allegation. There's a couple of spa allegations with Vince that was highlighted in the 9 Lives last night. And yeah, Vince has just done some gross things. Keep him away from WWE. Thanks a lot for being here on this Wednesday afternoon. You guys enjoy Dynamite tonight. I'm sorry I'm not going to be able to be here to watch that with you live, but winter is coming. Looks good. I'm very excited to see the outcome of that Ricky Starks and MJF match. If for any reason we do get a title change tonight or something, I'll come up and do another one of these mic drops tomorrow, but I'm not thinking that's very likely tonight. I think Maxwell will probably hang on to the title, and I just hope the match with Ricky is one to remember. So you guys enjoy Winter is Coming. Feel free to send me the tweets over at Good Mic Work. Also shoot me a follow on Instagram at Good Mic Work 1. But in terms of Twitter, would love to get some Winter is Coming updates from you guys tonight, since I'll be very busy and might not be able to catch any of the show at all, if you know what I mean. So thanks for being here. Have a good evening, and I'll talk to you soon.